Hello everyone. So my name is Captain Abhishek Singh. Welcome to my channel. So I would like to introduce to my channel. This channel is about finance, investing, and the content made in a simple language which everybody can understand and which will help you to make decision regarding your own investment, debt management, personal finance, etc. So what I am doing, what I have done, I will be sharing that in subsequent videos and more and more as the channel grows. Theory plus my own practical experience will be shared here. So I was thinking what video to make for the first video of this channel, and then I thought to start with the basics. You know, so this video is regarding what is economy, how the economic machine works. So I really learned this thing from another video which is on by made by the Mr. Ray Dalio. I'll put the link in the description box so that you can get that video, watch that video fully. I'll put that same video here in much simpler language. Basically, will break down in few important points. So let's start it, and I'll share my screen here, and I'll show slide one by one. Yeah. Then let's start. What is economy? So, guys, when we say economy, what we understand by our economy means. So, in every economy, there is markets. So, you must have heard that there is an auto market, there is a gold market, and stock market, real estate market. So, all these markets actually, in summation, forms the economy, like steel, gold, auto, oil, chemical, agriculture. I can keep on saying more and more, bond market, etc. So all these market in total actually forms the economy of any country, like Indian economy, US economy, China economy, etc. So how these things work? So if you see in every market, or like we say in economy, there will be things to be produced. So it can be services, it can be manufacturing, it can be some new innovation. So here the person who is producing the things can be termed as a seller, which we can see, and the seller will sell his produce, and which will be bought by the buyer. Is the most basic point I am talking about here. So when the seller sells, buyer buys, it completes the transaction. Then that one complete transaction happens. You can say like deal happened. You went to the market, you bought the iPhone, and you paid the money for iPhone. Transaction completed. Correct. So like this seller in every market, like we say stock market, real estate market, every market will have lot of seller and buyer. All the seller and buyer become will form the market. So they will, whatever price will be quoted depending, and that will form the market. So that creates a market of the specific things which is produced. It can be, again I'm saying, it can be manufacturing or it can be services whatsoever. So this is how the things are produced. In any economy, the things are produced and then earnings are done, and you earn, and then that money is spent. So without production, there is no economy eventually. I hope this point is clear. Now, in the economy, what we have to understand here that the liquidity means the amount of money flows in the economy. It is actually controlled by RBI. So which is also called central bank in different parts of the world. Like in US, it is called central bank. And the RBI controls the liquidity in the economy, how much money is flowing in the economy. Don't get confused. I am going to explain it much more simpler. You will get it shortly. So what you need to understand here that when a buyer buys from the seller, so the buyer can borrow the money, the credit which is there in the economy, he can borrow that money. For that borrowing the money, there will be the rate by the banks. But bank is given money by the RBI. So that rate is called repo rate. So you must have seen that RBI is increasing the repo rate, decreasing the repo rate. So depending upon that, when they are trying to increase the repo rate, they are basically trying to bring down the inflation. And we're trying to decrease the repo rate, they're basically trying to promote the growth. We'll understand it with this thing. So credit is controlled by RBI, right, or central bank in other parts of the world, right, by controlling the repo rate. How the repo rate means, basically it's the interest rate, you can understand. For example, the more interest rate will be there in the banks, so lesser will be the borrowing, right? And less the interest rate will, more will be the borrowing. Like home loans, you must be running home loans which interest rate must be coming more or coming less, and depending you must have taken decision that you should buy now or later, something like that. Yeah. So lender and borrower is the relation, right, in the bank. So bank lends, borrower buys, and then what happens, that what we need to understand here, that when you borrow the money, that credit which was there, it converts into debt, and debt which you are going to pay in the future, it is the principal which you have taken plus the interest rate. And now, because you have now more money, because you have borrowed the money from the bank, now you can spend more. This is the very important part. If you remember the initial example, the person produced something, he sold and he got some income. But only by income he may spend something. But because of that income, he is eligible for borrowing more money from the banks. And that borrowed money, he can spend more. So credit and debt is actually helps increasing the spending. And because the spending is going to increase, the other guy to whom you are paying the money, his income is going to increase. Try to understand this. I'll explain you with some examples, some pictures. So this creates the cycle in the economy. You will understand in the next slide. See, so here the income will help you to borrow the money, and the borrowed money you will spend more. Because you spend more, the other guy is going to get more income. Other guy is going to get more income, he will borrow more. So again he will spend more. And like this you will see the income is increasing in the economy. So again he is borrowing more and spending more, and like this the GDP increases because of the more consumption. So this is creating the cycle. So in this diagram you can see, because the spending is more, the GDP has increased. But eventually with more income, more spending, the inflation is gonna rise, cost of the things will gonna rise, and because of which the inflation is going to rise. Right? So let's understand this diagram first. If there is no credit, no debt, there will be linear production, like this. Production will be same, but the earnings accordingly will be there. But because we borrow money, earnings increases, and when the inflation goes up, it is brought down. When it is in limit, then it is again brought up by promoting the growth by the RBI. So this is how it is. What we need to understand, why we need to have debt. That is because when debt is used to increase production, it becomes a good debt, right? But when the debt doesn't increase production, it becomes a bad debt. So debt is available to all, more or less or something like this. We'll discuss some in another video in deeper concept. But debt somehow is available to all. So it depends upon you how you use your debt. And in this case, when the debt is increasing, hence your spending is increasing, so inflation is increasing. And when the inflation is increasing, the interest rate is increased, and because of which the spending has to be brought down. And then inflation comes down. When inflation comes down, then again the interest rate is cut and growth is promoted, like this. Eventually we reach the same point. But this is the cycle has happened because of the debt. Now here the RBI is watching all this scenario. Like I already explained you earlier, because RBI is watching this one. They control, they increase the repo rate, they try to control the liquidity. Debt becomes more expensive, so there is less borrowing. So less borrowing, so you spend less, so other person income reduces, and same keeps on going. That's why you must have heard that uh, in the recent news you must have seen, like last 2 3 years, that repo rate has an increase, so companies profit is slowing down, consumption is slowing down, so profit is decreasing. Bunch of examples. And now again the latest news is that the RBI cut 25 basis points. So now they are trying to again increase the growth rate in the economy. But it is not going to happen in the same fashion like it used to be before. The reason is more complex. Basically, I can say the money printing happened too much at the time of COVID. Now, to bring that debt in control is going to take a bit longer. That is the reason the private banks and the banking stocks are haven't performed that well. You know, doesn't apply on PSU banks and all, but yeah, that's what happened in private banks. So, anyways, we will cover those things also in further videos. And so this cycle of repo rate is, I hope you guys understood this thing. Inflation increasing and inflation decreasing. This is how it happens. So now, what I'm going to ask you here is that with this thing, what I told you about the repo rate going up, coming down. Now, what is going to help you to understand this thing? That is, now you can say in coming 3 years, what do you think? FD rates are going to go up or down? If the RBI is going to cut the repo rate, that means the RBI is going to provide the credit to the banks at the cheaper rate. The banks are going to give money at the cheaper rate. You're going to lend money at the cheaper rate. So eventually bank will also reduce the FD rate. So this is how you can make out whether the FD rate are going to go up or going to go down. And in this cycle, whether which kind of market is going to be beneficial. For example, real estate market. In coming 3-4 years, the real estate market should be doing good because the borrowing of the money will going to become cheaper. Now that doesn't mean all the flats and all which is there is going to perform very well. I don't think so. Some part of the real estate is going to do well, like hard assets, for example, commercial properties, hard lands, and all those things. This is what I feel like as per my understanding. So what I will say that the investment, what you have to decide, you should not decide what's happening by the masses. You have to think how the cycle of economy works, what kind of assets are good. The reason for flats not going to perform good is that the supply is endless. You know, एक बिल्डिंग खत्म होती है, दूसरी रेडी है, दूसरी खत्म हो रही है, तीसरी आ जा रही है. तो there is no end of supply. That's not going to happen with the hard land or the commercial property, as per my expectation. So all this thing, nothing is absolutely right or absolutely wrong or bad. Part of real estate will be good, part of stock market will be good. ऐसा नहीं कि पूरा स्टॉक मार्केट गिर रहा है तो सारी की सारी कंपनी खराब हो गए. सब कुछ कंपनी अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई दे विल परफॉर्म गुड, which all index is going to be good. So I'm going to cover all these things in my next video. So I hope you like this video, guys. Please tell me your opinion in the comment box, and please do like and subscribe so that this channel can grow. Thank you very much and see you soon. Thank you.